And Kuss goes, says, I've had enough of this, to Evenepoel. And there's gaps opening up here, 2.6 kilometres to go. Here is Sepp Kuss, and he has actually pushed on. He's going for glory. This could be a fabulous day for Jumbo-Visma. Stage victory coming his way, needs to drive it all the way over the line. Is he going to, he's going to go high-fiving. This might cost him a red jersey, for goodness sake. Hits the line, takes 10 seconds bonus.
Welcome, everybody, to the Between Two Wheels podcast. Tyler Yonke. We're going to do a stages 1 through 3 recap. The 2024 Vuelta a España, the 79th edition of La Vuelta Ciclista a España. It's a 2-point UWT stage race, third Grand Tour of the year, and we've got a little bit of stuff to talk about. I was gone, so, did a fantasy thing too as well. There's only 3 of us in there, so not as much excitement as we had for the Tour de France, but still, I learned a little thing, so I'm doing pretty good at that. Okay, so I hope we got Victor in here. Nice intro. Yeah, thanks, Victor. I hope you had a good weekend. We flew back in early morning flight this morning. Wow, it's almost missed the plane. My son, TSA is the worst ever. Just throwing that out there, especially in Portland, Oregon. Okay, so what did we have here? Well, we had stage 1 was a time trial, and we walked through this on the preview show. Pan flat. I said there's a good chance Brandon McNulty, Wout van Aert, Josh Tarling, these are the types who are gonna, possibly do get the win. So it'll be interesting to see how the GC, the general classification riders go. And you had some wind involved, and what you saw with Jumbo is they ended up tried to give the best advantage to Wout, put him very last because you can pick what order you go in. You don't have to have the previous winner be the last to go, Sepp Kuss in this case, and he went a little earlier, tried to give Wout a better chance of winning the red jersey. And let's just maybe walk through some of these, as we've done here, some of these breakaways. Early on, Enric Mas put up a really good time, especially for the GC riders, the pure climbers. He's not a time trial guy. It was 12-kilometer time trial. He put up a pretty good time. Victor Campenaerts came in here. He started to put up even a little better time, but it wasn't huge. And you're like, okay, well, maybe it's just going to be a better day for Enric Mas, right? But then Edward Alfini comes in here. He bests Campenaerts' time just a little bit more. Jay Vine had been out there. Jay Vine got eclipsed, so you have some tough stuff going in here. And then Jumbo-Visma's coming through. You have Ineos, Josh Tarling. He's coming through as well. He's looking solid as you would expect. And like I said, there was some wind out there. Josh Tarling didn't set the fastest time. Adam Yates looked pretty good, and meanwhile, Edward Affini is just chilling in the hot seat. He gets a pretty good time to be up there for quite some time. João Almeida is going to come through. He also sets a fairly decent time, and we'll break down all these. Sepp Kuss, not so good. Probably of the GC riders, he wasn't as bad as like Mikel Landa as an example, but he wasn't as good as Roglic. And Sepp Kuss ends up coming in 50-some seconds in off of the winner. Vasek comes in for Little Trek. He does fairly well, puts up a really good time. He tops Alfini. Sepp Kuss, once again, having some trouble here, coming over the finish line. 45, 53 some seconds back, 49, 51 seconds or so back of his teammate Alfini. Roglic looks to be in fairly good shape. Wout van Aert heads off as well. And once again, this is a time trial, so it's not all that exciting to click through here. But Wout starts setting a good time coming in through Roglic, just barely off there. But setting a blazing time out in the course is Brandon McNulty, the American champion in the time trial, resplendent in his stars and stripes. He sets the fastest time, 2 seconds over Vasek. And whoops, he gets kicked out of the hot seat there. Brandon McNulty has to wait just a little bit, and Wout doesn't end up eclipsing his time, misses it at by 2-3 seconds here. So in the end, you had Brandon McNulty, the American, gets the win over let's take a look here. Over Wout, and I want to just walk through, because I think this is actually somewhat important as far as looking through, because tomorrow we're going to have a stage that's going to feature all the big riders. So as far as the GC goes, one, Brandon McNulty, you don't know what he could do here. Now, Chris Horner, he seems to think that, and maybe I should just walk through all the teams here. So Alpecin, they didn't really have much to go on here. They're looking for the sprint. Arkea, same with them. Their best rider was 57 seconds off. Harold Tejada of Astana gets in there, 29 seconds back. Ide Schelling, 44 and 54 seconds back is Gleb Brusensky. Bovin victorious, Anthony Tiberi, the cat killer, 27 seconds off the win with Keplinger and Jasper Sutherland. Jack Haig, all 44 seconds. 51 is Fran Mihailovic. Okay, Cofidis, their best was Ian Inzaguri at 51, and then Ruben Fernandez, Guillaume Martin back there, 123. Decathlons, Bruno Amaral, 18 seconds, does a decent time. Victor Lefay, he comes in at 49. But Ben O'Connor, 52 seconds, not the best one, but does do 2 seconds better than Felix Gall for the decathlon rider. EF, their best rider was Owen Duell, but their GC hopes are really squarely on the Richard Carapaz, who comes in at 40 seconds back. Not the best time, but once again, who was the best GC rider? Well, we'll get to him. Equipo Kern, they had a guy at 29, 30, and one at 59. We didn't really know those guys. Same with Euskaltel. We'll just keep going on here to Groupama. Stefan Kung, as you would expect, 6 seconds off the lead. But David Gaudu, 51 seconds. So you had some of these riders that, little climbers like him and Enric Mas, that did fairly well. Ineos, Josh Tarling at 8 seconds. Tiemann Arnsman at 29. Lawrence Depluce, 45. 45 for Carlos Rodriguez. And Brandon Rivera at 53, and then a few others back there. Intermarché, Kobe Goosens, 51 seconds, and then a minute for Tarme. Israel Primotek, Marco Frigo at 28 seconds. Dylan Twins at 54, and our little guy, Matthew Riccatello, the American at 110. Not so bad, but Riley Sheehan almost dead last there at 136. And Mike Woods, disappointing 119 seconds, but exactly what you would expect. Like we said, Vacek Matthias for Vacek for Little Trek, 2 seconds off the lead. Skilmolson actually does a really good ride at 22 seconds. Tail Gegenhardt at 31. Patrick Canrad, 44. And Giulio Ciccioni at 54 seconds. So not so bad for those guys. Lotto Destiny, we talked about Victor Kampenaerts and Van Itvelt at 53 seconds for him, and Kampenaerts at 32. Not quite what you would expect out of him, but maybe a little tired coming off of the Tour and the Olympics. Nilson Oliveira, 20 seconds. Enric Mas at 39. Like we said, not too bad for a GC rider. Now, here's the best GC placement here. Primoz Roglic, who, top 3 last year, 16 seconds off of the win. And so he really is the one that puts the hurt kind of into everybody. But Florian Lipowitz, he can, the team can do some damage here with some other riders up front. Alexander, but it's all really for Roglic, although Danny Martinez at 33 seconds, not so bad for him either. Sudal Quick Step, Asker Casper Asgreen, 25 seconds. Matteo Cantaneo, 27. Landa, 105. So not so great for Landa, 105 back, already losing almost a minute to Primoz Roglic. DSM, Max Poole, 37, and then Chris Hamilton back at 56 seconds. So not so great for DSM either. Jayco, they don't really have any. Eddie Dunbar's done well in the Giro before, but he's 37 seconds off. Chris Harper back there at 48 seconds. Team Visma Lease Bike, Wout van Aert, 2 seconds off. Just barely misses out on the win himself. Eduardo Affini, who's in the hot seat for quite a while, was 47 seconds there. Kian Utebrooks, 44 seconds, not so bad. Robert Hessink, 45, and then our defending champion Sepp Kuss at 53 with Attila Walter coming in at 55. So, and Steven Kruijswijk back there at 133. Can't really help him out there. He's not much of a time trial. And Dylan Van Baarle just probably cruising it in. But here's what's interesting. All the riders for Team UAE, with to get the win, João Almeida, 19 seconds, just 3 seconds off of Primoz Roglic. Jay Vine, 24 seconds. Filippo Baroncini at 26. Adam Yates, 34 seconds. Soler, 36. 40 for Pavel Sivakov and Isaac de Toro, 42. All of them, their whole entire team was better than Sepp Kuss. So that's not such a bad display for Team UAE at this point. And it actually looks pretty good. Now, should the Brendan McNulty, he said he's riding for João and probably for Adam Yates. There's a lot of steep climbing, which is just not his thing, but he is riding well. So I think you ride that train until maybe tomorrow, until you just really can't anymore. Then you're going to have stages 2 and 3. They're really going to be set up for sprinters, and that's exactly what you had. Now, in the meantime, you had... what'd you have here? You had the women's Tour de France going on. So there was kind of some excitement going over there because it actually turned out to be somewhat of an interesting stage race and some weird tactics that could have come and gone, but we won't really talk about that. Anyway, this Mate guy, he goes up the road for Euskaltel, and he's trying to get points, and you're seeing at least he and Kern are doing this, but the real devastation for this race comes for Dylan Van Baarle, 91 kilometers. He goes down, he tries to get back on his bike. He ends up quitting. I think he broke his hip, so that's going to be quite a devastating blow to Team Visma Lisa Bike, VLAB. In the end, you've got the first sprint here. Caden Groves getting the lead. Wout's in the green jersey. Caden Groves and Wout going for it, and that's what you're expecting. Remember, Caden Groves last year, great sprints. I want to say he had 5-6 stages in the end, and so really it's coming down to the sprint there. There was a few climbs. There's still some stuff to kind of push some riders, but you're going to have a sprint finish. There was some riders going down right here. You can see that due to the crowds. That's not so good. And I think it was Vacek actually was the one that went down there, and he's trying to fight for, because look, although it's only 2 seconds from Brandon McNulty to Wout and a few of these others, with the time bonuses in place, the red jersey is still up for grabs, and Brandon McNulty is not going to be playing in these games. Meanwhile, the sprint finish comes down to it, and the riders, there was another bad wreck over here. Josh Tarling goes into the gutter, and this gutter looked gross. It's just a concrete gutter here. You had some Team DSM riders. I think, like I said, Josh Tarling went over the side there. I think he's okay. I'm not. We'll have to check on him to see if he ended up finishing up here. Did not look well. Meanwhile, the sprint comes down. And, Dylan Van Baarle is just one rider less that Visma Lisa Bike has to put their riders in the front. However, they were doing a decent lead out here for Wout. He ends up sprinting out here, takes off about 120 to go, and puts his head into the wind with Caden Groves. But Caden Groves actually comes across the line, puts the post up, and gets the win quite nicely, actually, for stage 2. So, there was a change then for the leader's jersey because Wout van Aert goes into red jersey as the overall leader. And then we come into today's race, stage 3. Once again, it looked like it was going to be somewhat similar. Little break. Mate once again is off the front. You got these breaks for these riders behind, and the big GC riders are really queuing up for tomorrow, because tomorrow is going to be a GC day. At least it's the last few. We'll look at that stage here. It's going to have a climb at the finish, so it's inevitable that that's going to happen. Visma Lisa Bike without Dylan Van Baarle is still in the front. They're pulling things back together because they do want to get Wout the win, and they had a chance to do so. Once again, not much to see here. Pretty boring for the most part, coming down into the last bit of the finish. Caden Groves gets his team on the front in the green jersey, Alpecin de Koenig, and it comes up to be, he takes off. He's got the lead out. A little bit behind him is Wout van Aert, and the two hit the line, or the wind at about 150, 175, you can see right there to go. But this time Wout is able to hold off for the win. Posts up, does a little bird flap, gets the win out there, stays in the red jersey. So good for him. Pretty simple. It's good to see Wout, I think, get the win. Like, some people don't like the fact that he's winning as a guy, a big contender, a favorite, a big team, but it's what it is. And I'm glad to see him out competing. And that's, to me, the big deal. He missed out. He came in late on the tour. And this is always what you have in the Vuelta, which is some guys are there to just maybe get a few stages wins on the beginning and leave. Other ones are just like, I'm fulfilling a contract issue. Other ones, Sepp Kuss, Roglic, Enric Mas, they have some scores to settle, and this is a big deal for them. So I think Wout's kind of in that boat. I mean, obviously getting the red jersey, getting a stage win, coming close yesterday, and they are defending. The Visma Lease Bike did not get a Grand Tour win this year. Yes, Jonas was on the podium for the Tour de France, but they didn't get their win and won all three last year. Meanwhile, it's been UAE, and UAE has a chance to do what Visma Lease Bike did last year. That's crazy if you really think about it. UAE has a chance with either Adam Yates or João Almeida to win the Vuelta and do the Giro Tour Vuelta triple. That's crazy to think that last year it could have been one team and this year it could be when it's just never been done before, and now you're going to be able to possibly do it, and they have a really good chance to do so. So I think with that, it's somewhat exciting, but I hope I'm pulling for the big defense here from with Sepp Kuss. So it'd be nice to really get that. Okay, let's take a look here, kind of go over the results. And that was yesterday's stage. Here is today's, and we'll do a better breakdown tomorrow because I will be paying attention to these races a little bit more. Let's see, did we have any DNFs? None on today's race. Besides Dylan Van Barle yesterday, did we have anybody else? Just Dylan. So it looks like he might be the only rider out of the race at this point. No changes with the overall, with the GC. Wout's in the lead. Brandon McNulty's and Brandon can go back into the red tomorrow. I mean, that's a very good possibility because he has still a pretty decent lead over Roglic. Roglic is 30 seconds back. Brandon is 13. So, got himself 16 seconds or still. He could hold on to that win tomorrow. I mean, that's a very good possibility. And Skilmos is back there at 35. I mean, it depends on who's and what UAE really wants to do, to protect themselves here. But here you go for tomorrow. Here's the stage tomorrow. It's going to be, they're coming back into Spain. They've been in Portugal. They're coming back into Spain. Cat 2 at 9.2 kilometers, 5.4%. That's in the first 23 kilometers. That pitches out there. So that thing starts at 14 kilometers in. So you're gonna have guys probably on and this race in full distance is 170. So just a little bit over 100 miles. And then Cat 1 comes in 13.8 kilometers at 5.6%. The Alto del Pirinol. The first one is the Porta de Cabezabellosa. Then you've got a long descent down to the flat valley of, almost 30 kilometers there. Then they start to pitch up this Cat 3, the bonus pitch there. It's 4.4%, 7.9 kilometers up the Puerta de Merveta. And then they have this plateau again and the sprint here with 155 kilometers into the stage. And that is then they start in this last one and it goes 2.9. I mean, it's more than that, but there's sections here that right near the end, the last 2.9 kilometers is 13.4%. Here we go. The Pico Vercars, 14.6 kilometers at 6.2%. But let's take a look here at some of these climbs. This is the Cat 1. Is this a Cat 1 coming into the finish? It is here. Is that it? Is that the climb there? Or is here we have it at the bottom? There we go. So this looks like it's probably the very last portion there. But there you go. It's a lot of this this black up here, which is the steep stuff. It does seem to pitch off a little bit and goes into the blue, but then it hits this red. So with that in mind, it definitely is. It's an Enric Mas. It's not so much a João Almeida. And I think João might not have in his legs to be able to do this kind of steep, pitchy stuff. It's definitely in the wheelhouse of Sepp Kuss if he's riding well. And if the times are like they used to be with Roglic, it's definitely a chance for him Primoz Roglic to Roglicify the race and get the bonus. I imagine there's bonus sprints at the end here. We should probably take a look here. Let's see, complimentary results. Okay, so you got a KOM, points at the finish. There's time bonuses here, but there's also time bonuses earlier. There's a 6, 4, and 2 coming at 123 kilometers to go. Up at the Cat 3, the KOM there. And then you have 10, 6, and 4 bonus seconds here at the finish. I mean, there's a good chance that coming over this 3, it depends if a break is off in one of the teams. If, let's say, Bora, they want to get this red jersey right away tomorrow, there's a good chance, because I think Roglic could get a 6 seconds. He could get 10 and maybe put some more time. I don't see, especially with this steep finish here, Brandon's can maybe hold on. I think it's going to be game over for Brandon. You're going to see Yates come to the fore for UAE. You're going to see Roglic, probably Sepp Kuss up there as well. Enrique Mas and a few, Carapaz, a few of those others. But I mean, that is a steep finish. And I think it's going to be, you're going to see some gaps tomorrow. You're probably going to have 3 or 4 guys that are kind of on the same there, which I'm predicting Roglic with his ability to finish, be able to sprint. If he's riding anywhere, look like his time trial was going, he's going to put some time into these. But you never know. You never do know. So this is coming in tomorrow, stage 4. This is going to be pretty nice. Let's see what else we have, because I just want to look at coming up here. But these riders are going to be going for it here. 4, 5. Okay, so then they have stage 5. That's going to probably be a sprinter's day, even though it looks like it's high mountain up here. They're all coming down. So this is Wednesday, and then you got Thursday. That's a little bit of a pitch on the end, but not much of it. Let's take a look at that final Cat 3. Doesn't look too bad, actually. So Friday, stage 7, that should be a sprint. Then the weekend, mountain here, 4.8 at 7.2% Cat 3 finish. That's good, nice little one there. And then on Sunday, it crests a Cat 1 and then a downhill. So there's a good chance, you're going to see guys attacking up this last thing, maybe trying to pull a Pogacar of getting away at the end. So there you go. Okay, so and I will try to get some interviews and stuff. We'll keep doing this as we do. So tomorrow, tomorrow's going to be tough for me at work. So maybe we'll do it in the afternoon. If not, I might do it in the morning. Look for an update there. But remember, subscribe to the show so you get the notifications for everything. So tomorrow is once again, and we could talk about the women's Tour de France a little bit. Kasia Niewiadoma ends up winning that, holds in over Vollering just by 4 seconds. It was fairly interesting. Vollering has the lead, and decent lead, 30 seconds or so over Niewiadoma, crashes. Her team doesn't sit up for her. Her teammate actually wins the stage. It's like 17K to go. And her teammate's Voss stays up there and ends up winning the stage, but it doesn't come back to help her. There was another Weebs, I think it was also up there in front of her, that didn't come back to help her as well. So she ends up being down, a minute 20 or so. Then you had stage 7, comes up to the finish. There's a rider winning up the road, and Niewiadoma's attacking, and they're with a group of about 7 or so. And so she ends up going up the road, and then there was one winner, a German girl, Justin, I don't remember how do you pronounce her last name. There's another girl that got second place, so there's still time bonuses for third, and Niewiadoma's just dragging Vollering up there, and Vollering easily beats her, gets a time bonus. And it was like, some of the tactics you see with the women, it just blows your mind. It's like that one as an example, there was no need to be doing that. You had a lead on everybody. You didn't need to do that. Matter of fact, you're much better sitting back in the pack so that someone else could probably beat her in this sprint, Vollering that is, and then you don't give her more time. In the end, Niewiadoma just fought back. They went to Glendon, and then they went up the Alpe d'Huez, and up the Glendon, she actually got dropped. Following an attack, she just didn't have the legs, but it was a pretty good race. I actually didn't watch it at all during the time. I saw what happened at the end, and it was good, and I kind of went back and checked it out. Victor says, thanks for live streaming. You bet. We'll be here all Vuelta long as I can do it. Until then, everybody, We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Right now, Primož Roglic decides to come up and start setting the pace here. I think he's thinking, well, if Vingegaard can have a go, so can I. At 2.8 kilometers to go, Roglic has actually changed the tempo here. This is great strategy. Talk about strength in numbers, and what delivery. Oh, Sepp Kuss is off the back. It's a wheel length. They're going to have to be told to wait up for him if that is the plan. He's on the blower saying, guys, would you mind? They don't even look back. So finally, Vingegaard does look back, takes a glance, but they're not waiting. They've gone.
He saw that Sepp was there at first. Second time he looked, there were 4 or 5 lengths. He just turned back to the front and stuck on the wheel of Primož Roglic. Sepp Kuss fighting for his life in red. Primož Roglic just keeps pushing out the tempo. Landa comes back to the wheel of Sepp Kuss, who is flailing. And Sepp Kuss, he's seeing it slip away. 21 seconds. The gap to Roglic and Vingegaard.
Kuss here. The gap's actually come down. Landa's closing it on behalf of Kuss. This is amazing. They are coming back into it. It's Landa that's wrestling for this one. Into the hoarded sections. There's the Flamme Rouge finally. So Landa still sticks it to the mountain here. Sepp Kuss is actually rolling here, trying to hold on to Landa, who's on spectacular form at the moment. Gets the roar from the crowd, and it's about 3/4 of bike length, but it comes back into that gap. This is the finale for them. They zigzag through here, the road snakes, and they've bitten everybody. Wow, this is great. Now watch the clock as it starts to count. 3, 4, 5, and here comes Sepp Kuss. He's now got to sprint home to hold on to this jersey. Maybe he knows him. We all know about Sepp Kuss. Oh, I think he might well have just held on to it with those bonus seconds. That is absolutely